My Little Pony. Here are 3 words that made the 12-year-old me say, ugh. Because the facts are that around that time, toys and their corresponding cartoons were often marketed more towards boys or more towards girls. And I tended more towards the former. You know, Ninja Turtles, Mighty Max, and my little-known obsession with G.I. Joe. But in recent years, a new incarnation of My Little Pony, thought typically to be a show for girls, has been bringing in massive numbers of male viewers. And as a male viewer who isn't an expert, and in fact haven't seen a single minute of My Little Pony prior to this, movement, well, I think it's high time that I take a look at all iterations of the television show, from the original up to today's highly successful revival, and of course the curious culture that it created.
Taking a look at the revamped, rebooted, and reanimated, this is RETOONED.
Now, hardcore fans of the toys categorize generations by the toys and not the animated shows, because they don't always line up perfectly. However, in this video, I'll be using the Gen 1 through 4 groupings in reference to the major periods of the shows and not the toy lines. So with that, let's start at the very beginning, because, well, we all know what Julie Andrews said. My Little Pony was born as a toy line in 1981 as My Pretty Pony, later renamed and made a bit smaller and less creepy in 1983 by Hasbro. These would become the classic toys that most people remember. Its animated beginnings start with 2 standalone specials whose success saw the addition of some other Hasbro toy lines for 1986's My Little Pony and Friends, as well as a full-scale movie. And all of this, from what I can find, seems to make up the bulk of G1.
My little pony, isn't the world a lovely place? My little pony, everywhere you go, a smiling face.
But what is G1 like overall? Well, this one certainly feels the most far out of the 4, if I can use that term. The world they inhabit is a very mystical place with castles and monsters and magic and the like.
The sea pony saved us. It was great.
If you need us again,
Just call. Thanks, sea ponies.
shooby-doo, shoop-shoop-a-doo.
Now, the ponies live in the creatively named Ponyland, but there are also other creatures living in other regions, like ducks and penguins and even just regular humans, I guess. With this first bunch, you can sort of tell that they haven't yet been affected by the massive success and overwhelming female fanbase, because they aren't afraid to have the ponies going on crazy adventures and fighting monsters, like this giant evil penguin who threatens to freeze the whole world with this strange staff. It's very mystical and, well, hey, it's kind of cool, actually.
The power of my icy cold stare may be small, but when magnified by this machine, it creates a wind so cold that soon the whole world will be frozen over. All who are unworthy.
But don't get me wrong, it certainly has its softer side when compared to the boys' cartoons of the time. And this first generation introduces musical-style songs into the Pony series, and that's actually one of the only trends that sticks with the shows throughout. Overall, the first generation seems pretty inspired, and it has that classic 80s feel that's always a lot of fun. It's got a strong fantasy vibe with Pegasus ponies, sea ponies, and a dragon that you might recognize. And with Generation 2, I'd love nothing more than to see them push this fantasy element even further.
Something is starting right now. Something is starting. Oh wow. My little pony, my little pony, my little ponytail.
My Little Pony Tales is often considered a part of Generation 1 or 1.5, but because of its storyline and visual changes and the time gap, I'm siding with those who consider it Gen 2 animation-wise. My Little Pony Tales was released on the Disney Channel in 1992. The ponies are still in Ponyland, but it feels a bit different this time around. The 7 pony friends, Bon Bon, Sweetheart, and Melody, to name a few, have a whole new set of issues, dealing a bit less with dragons and magic. Things like homework, slumber parties, and boy ponies are a bit more of the focus, with such beloved episodes as Bon Bon's Diary.
Dear Diary, today was the worst day of my life. I did something I never did before. I cheated.
In this version, Ponyland basically feels like a regular real-world town with regular people, but with ponies replacing the people. This was the My Little Pony that I remember from growing up. It just gushes that classic girly vibe, and it seemed to establish the idea that ponies are for girls, which is fine. I mean, it's what they were marketing it for.
Share with everyone. Gossip that's as juicy as can be. Oh, I am in my glory when I hear a juicy story.
So long as it's not about me. So long as it's not about me.
Overall, I think it was a mistake to strip away most of the fantasy elements of the show, but if you watch a couple of the episodes, there are some worthwhile morals for younger audiences. So while I was over learning from Duke not to litter, I could rest assured that its Hasbro pony neighbor was imparting a similar message. Onward to Gen 3.
My little pony, my little pony. Every day is a dream come true. My little pony, how I love to play with you.
I'll be honest, I didn't think things could get much more pink and cutesy for the pony mythology until I started Gen 3. This one came out in 2003 in the form of direct-to-video animated features, so it saw a bit of a downgrade from the previous series. But downgrade or not, this iteration of My Little Pony has upped the ante big time, with louder pink, crazier voices, and songs upon songs upon songs upon songs.
Make a new friend every day. Learn a brand new game to play.
Although that garden one was kind of catchy.
Cover your garden well, so it will grow. Cover your garden well, so it will grow.
And is it just me, or do the ponies in this generation look all screwy in the eyes? I mean, where the heck are they even looking? Anyways, Gen 3 introduces lots of its own new ponies, as detailed in their intro.
Rainbow Dash always dresses in style. Sweet
Wait, what?
Rainbow Dash always dresses in style.
Sadly, this generation has to be my least favorite. The animation style was nearly unwatchable for me, and some of the voice acting is just weird and off-putting. Pinkie Pie straight up sounds like Shirley Temple.
My birthday is tomorrow. Really? Are you sure? You're really, really sure? You're sure? I'm really, really sure. But it's okay.
However, this would be the very last generation for the ponies on this trajectory, because a whole new overhaul was inbound.
My little pony, my little pony. Ah, my little pony.
I used to wonder what friendship could be. Until you all shared its magic with me. Big adventure.
Generation 4, My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic. A show that turned expectations on their ears and garnered a legion of fans that most people literally wouldn't believe. The show launched in 2010 on the Hub to massive success. But why was it so successful? Well, it starts with Lauren Faust, known from the Powerpuff Girls and Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. As creative director and executive producer, Lauren Faust set the show in a direction that has since been critically acclaimed and loved by viewers as well. The characters in Friendship is Magic are much deeper and more complex than any ponies we've had in the past. Twilight Sparkle is kind of the main character, but she's a part of a bigger ensemble, lovingly referred to as the Main Six. Get it? The Main Six consists of Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, Applejack, Rarity, Rainbow Dash, and Twilight Sparkle, and each of them have their own unique personalities, complete with quirks, flaws, and minds of their own, which is a welcome departure from the ponies we had in the past two gens.
The higher you go, the chillier it gets. Good thing I brought my scarf. Ooh, pretty.
Friendship is Magic returns to the original roots and brings back the fantasy adventure elements in full force. So for me, it instantly becomes much more interesting. The adventures give the show stakes and reasons to care about the characters, instead of just worrying if someone finds Bon Bon's diary. That's not to say that Friendship is Magic doesn't have its more traditional episodes with much less fantasy fare. But after all, it is called Friendship is Magic, but in this version, it quite literally is. But there's something else I really enjoy about this new iteration. In its creation, the developers didn't throw completely out the older generations. They kept in some elements to stay true to the pony legacy. So, while they may have made a large departure, it still feels true to the existing brand in its own way. Spike and Applejack existed in Generation 1, and as we also saw in Generation 3, Rainbow Dash and Pinkie Pie were born. Albeit some serious updates have been made to these characters, but it's neat to see the older series considered and referenced. Another element in keeping with the older series is the music. Songs have been prevalent in each generation and have certainly stuck around for Friendship is Magic. Often led by Pinkie Pie, the songs make the show feel like a little mini Disney movie, and it's a fun bit of difference from most animated shows airing today. As far as RETOONED is concerned, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic can basically be considered Cartoon Revival 101. It's a fresh take on an old and established property, but it really knocks it out of the park. So if you're someone who has passed up on this show because ponies are for girls, well, hopefully you'll give it a try because it may surprise you. Because hey, it did inspire a whole group of fans that no one saw coming.
You know, I would never watch something like this. It sounds so stupid.
But like so many others, he gave it a try, liked it, and became a brony.
The title of the Brony documentary puts it perfectly. Bronies, the extremely unexpected adult fans of My Little Pony. I have to say, I was just as surprised to hear about this as you probably were. Grown men as fans of My Little Pony? Yeah, right! But it's true. Though strange, it's not completely crazy for these older fans to flock to this. I mean, I should know firsthand. As you get older, for some, animation is still cool. It doesn't become less awesome. Once you get older, it's only cool to watch Archer and Family Guy.
Wrong-o.
And with the changes that My Little Pony saw, the characters weren't just appealing to little girls, they were interesting for anyone. And like any fandom, the craze is about more than just the show. It's about a community, a grouping of people that all love the same thing and come together to make art, cosplay, fan fiction, what have you. I became curiously fascinated with how this property could go from the My Little Pony that I knew to something that could draw in not only a massive fan base period, but a fan base largely consisting of adult men. But whether you're able to get into ponies or if you aren't, what matters isn't if it's for girls or not, but if the stories are good, whether the characters are interesting, and if we have fun watching it. So I know what you're asking. Am I a brony? Well, I certainly won't be hand-sewing my Fluttershy cosplay anytime soon, or writing my Rarity and Princess Celestia fanfic in the near future. But in the end, you can certainly count me as a fan. Thanks for watching, every pony.
Next time on RETOONED.